Dear brothers and sisters, happy Pentecost Day. You may be wondering, is there something wrong with Father Peter? Did he say actually happy Pentecost Day? Yeah, and it's not the pandemic that is creating this effect on my mind. Although it is putting each one of us at a trial, and our spirits and our minds. But this is not the case here. Listen to this. Unbowing his head, he handed over the Spirit. This is not just a man dying who breathed out the last breath. He handed over the Spirit. The Spirit. What's Jesus' Spirit? The Spirit co-eternal with Him and the Father. That is the Spirit that Jesus gave us on Good Friday. See, it always intrigued me as someone who has learned English later, and also the traditions coming with the English language. I know not of other language in which Holy Friday is called Good Friday. How can it be good? Jesus died. It's tragic, right? We just heard the Passion proclaimed. What can be there good about it? And still, in the English language, it's not just called Holy Friday. It's in my maternal language, others that I'm aware of. It is Good Friday. Much good came to us on that day. He gave us His Spirit. It is like Pentecost. It is an actual Pentecost. Because it is not just the spirit of a normal, common man, but it is the Spirit of Jesus. It is the Spirit of God that is given to the world. In the very act of dying, Jesus gave us life, His life. He breathed the Spirit upon us like the creation when He created man by breathing His very life into our nostrils. So when He died, Jesus breathed upon us. Now, we're all very concerned about staying away from people's breath, and we're very concerned. So the image of the breath is, to us right now, recalls something that can be deadly, that can be very dangerous. Still, to this we have the image of a God who through His breath gives us life. Life. That's why I'm saying Happy Pentecost Day, because Jesus gave us His Spirit. If you don't believe me, this is backed up by something that Jesus said, His last words. It is finished. It is not just the words of a man who has reached the end of his suffering and is finally free from that suffering. These are the words of a man who is victorious, of God who has accomplished His project. In Greek, there is only one word. It says, tetelestai. Tetelestai. Now, we know that Jesus did not speak in Greek on the cross, but still, that is how the gospel was handed down to us. And tetelestai contains a word which is telos, which means goal. So what Jesus is saying here is not just it is finished, it is rather accomplished. I've accomplished my mission. I won. Isn't that strange? I won while he is about to die. I will never forget in one of my spiritual direction training sessions with the Institute for Priestly Formation. I will never forget this image that was given to us priests who were going through this program of Jesus as victorious in the very moment that he seemed defeated. And an example of that was Saint Maximilian Mary Kolbe, who gave his life to save a man who was married and had children. And rather than put that man to death, he said, I'm up for it. I will take his place. And he died a terrible death. He died of starvation in the bunker of death at Auschwitz. Was Saint Maximilian Mary Kolbe defeated by the Nazis? Or was he victorious? Tetelestai. I've accomplished my goal. Recently, I saw an image of one of the persons who has died of COVID-19. It is the founder of the Italian pro-life movement, a man who spent his whole life to save unborn babies. And someone took a picture of him shortly before he died. And it was a picture of a man with a smile and with his fists like this. He was a man that was like going into battle and victorious. It is accomplished. I've done what I was supposed to do in this life. I've accomplished my mission. Tetelestai. We are all crushed by the suffering these days. We're all crushed by it. One of the good things that I'm gathering from this pain that is in all our hearts and minds and bodies, even if we're not suffering as some others may be suffering directly affected by this virus. But isn't it amazing how we're able to experience more, to feel more compassion right now? We're all crushed. The thought that we are invincible, the thought that we are almost like God because of the technical advances that we enjoy, because of the progress that we enjoy in the modern world. Isn't it amazing that all of that disappeared just like that because of a tiny virus? Isn't it amazing? It took something as little as that to remind us how vulnerable we are, how needy we are. We are not God. We have a mission, a great mission, which is not over with death. Brothers and sisters, we heard from the letter to the Hebrews today. Since we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast to our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who has similarly been tested in every way. Brothers and sisters, God help us to, at the end of our days on earth, say, Tetelestai, it is accomplished.